What would you sacrifice to give a child a chance at a better life? Picture this. Samuel Sam Tucker, a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran, grips the handles of his niece's wheelchair, his calloused hands trembling not from age but from the weight of hope. Under a bruised Georgia sky, he pushes little Ellie, 10 years old, frail as a sparrow, toward Maplewood Elementary, her last shot at an education his meager pension can't buy. One rejection from a cold-hearted principal could shatter their dreams, but a single act of kindness from an unexpected ally might rewrite their story. This is a tale of grit, grace, and a twist of fate that'll tug at your soul. Stick around, because Sam and Ellie's fight is just beginning. Sam's days are a patchwork of rust and regret, stitched together in a crumbling trailer on the edge of Valdosta. Once a soldier who braved the humid hell of war, he now battles a different enemy: time, poverty, and the leukemia that's stolen Ellie's strength. Her mother, Sam's sister, died 2 years ago, leaving him as Ellie's anchor, her wide hazel eyes the only light in his dim world. Today, the air hangs heavy with late September heat, the scent of pine and dust thick as he maneuvers the wheelchair over cracked pavement. He's got a letter in his pocket, a plea for admission, and a heart full of prayers. But as the school's red brick facade looms ahead, doubt creeps in. Will they see past his patched jacket and Ellie's frail frame? Now, put yourself in Sam's boots, the rubber soles worn thin, your knees creaking from decades of carrying burdens, war scars, a sister's loss, a child's fragile future. You're a veteran with nothing but pride and a promise to keep, facing a school board that might turn you away. Ellie's counting on you, her soft coughs a reminder of time slipping through your fingers. Do you march in with your head high, demanding they see Ellie's potential, risking a fight you might not win? Or do you swallow your pride and beg, laying your heart bare for a chance they might still deny? Drop your choice, one or two, in the comments below, and let's hear what you'd do in Sam's place. While you're there, please subscribe to Daily Narrated Stories. We're racing to 1,000 subscribers, and your support means the world. It's the fuel that keeps these tales of courage alive. Hit that button, join our family, and let's roll into Sam and Ellie's story together. The wheelchair's wheels squeak against the pavement, a high-pitched whine that grates on Sam's nerves as he pushes Ellie past the school's flagpole, the stars and stripes snapping in the breeze like a whip cracking through the thick Georgia air. His hands, rough as sandpaper from years of gripping rifles and mending fences, tighten on the handles, the metal cool against his palms despite the sun beating down with relentless heat that beads sweat on his brow. Ellie's head lolls slightly, her thin blonde hair plastered to her forehead, damp with perspiration, her breath shallow but steady, each one a quiet battle against the leukemia gnawing at her bones. A silent enemy Sam can't fight with fists or bullets. His chest aches, not just from the effort of pushing the chair over the uneven asphalt, its cracks spidering like the lines on his weathered face, but from the sight of her, so small in that chair, her legs dangling uselessly beneath a faded quilt he'd tucked around her, its patches a mosaic of his sister Mary's old dresses. She's all he's got left, a flicker of Mary's spirit, her stubbornness, her quiet joy, and he'd walk through fire, barefoot over coals, to give her what Mary dreamed of, a classroom with chalk-dusted boards, a pencil in her tiny hand, a future beyond the trailer's sagging walls. The school's double doors loom ahead, glass panels glinting like judgmental eyes under the bruised September sky, and Sam pauses, wiping sweat from his brow with a sleeve that's more thread than fabric, its frayed edges a testament to years of making do. His reflection stares back from the glass, gray stubble sprouting like weeds, cheeks sunken from too many skipped meals, eyes shadowed by a war that never let go, their blue dulled by decades of loss. He straightens, squaring shoulders that once carried a rucksack through jungles thick with vines and gunfire, and mutters under his breath, "We're gonna make it, kid." Ellie turns her head, her hazel eyes catching the light, wide and luminous despite the pallor of her skin, a faint smile tugging at her pale lips, cracked from the dry heat. "You think they'll let me in, Uncle Sam?" Her voice is a whisper, fragile as a dried leaf rustling in the wind, and it cuts him deeper than the shrapnel that still sits lodged near his spine. A souvenir from '68 he feels every time the weather turns. They'd be fools not to. he says, forcing a grin that doesn't reach his eyes, though his gut twists with a dread he can't shake, a coiled snake ready to strike. He's faced ambushes in the Mekong Delta, mortar fire raining down like hell's own thunder, the screams of dying friends echoing in his ears. But this, pushing a wheelchair into a fight he can't shoot his way out of, feels like stepping into a minefield with no map, blind and barefoot. Inside, the lobby smells of wax and chalk dust, a sterile contrast to the earthy tang of the trailer's leaky roof, where rain seeps through and puddles on the linoleum he can't afford to replace. The air's cool, a relief from the heat outside, but it does little to ease the tension knotting Sam's shoulders as he wheels Ellie toward the receptionist's desk. The woman behind it has pinched lips and a perm tight as her attitude, her nails clicking against a clipboard as she barely looks up, her gaze fixed on some bureaucratic form like it's more important than the child in front of her. Name? She snaps, her pen hovering like a vulture circling a carcass, its tip poised to strike. Samuel Tucker, here for Ellie Carter's admission, he says, his voice steady despite the tremor in his hands, a shake he hides by gripping the wheelchair tighter, the metal biting into his palms. She glances at Ellie, then back at Sam, her eyes narrowing as they take in his patched jacket, the faded denim a stark contrast to her starched blouse, and the wheelchair's chipped paint, its wheels scuffed from years of use. Principal's office is down the hall. Good luck, you'll need it. The words drip with disdain, a venom that stings Sam's pride, and his jaw clenches, a flicker of the old soldier flaring up, the one who'd stared down officers with more brass than brains and lived to tell it, the one who'd carried wounded boys through mud while bullets buzzed like hornets. He pushes Ellie forward, the wheels rumbling over the polished linoleum, each squeak a defiant drumbeat against the silence, a rhythm that echoes the pounding of his heart. The hallway stretches long and narrow, lined with lockers painted a cheery blue that feels mocking against the gray cloud hanging over Sam's hopes. Children's voices drift from classrooms. Laughter, the scrape of chairs, a teacher's sharp call for attention, sounds that twist the knife in Sam's gut, reminders of what Ellie's been denied since her legs gave out and the hospital bills swallowed their savings. He passes a bulletin board plastered with drawings, stick figure families, Crayola suns, and Ellie's hand reaches out, brushing a paper bird with lopsided wings, her fingers trembling with a yearning he can feel in his bones. I could draw like that, she murmurs, her voice soft but laced with a hunger that makes Sam's throat tighten, a lump he can't swallow past. You will, kid, he says, his tone gruff but tender, a promise he's not sure he can keep as they reach the principal's office, its door a slab of oak that looms like a fortress gate, unyielding and cold. Principal Hargrove's office is a bastion of authority, the man himself a hulking figure behind a desk cluttered with papers, a brass nameplate gleaming like a medal he hasn't earned in Sam's eyes. His suit's crisp, navy blue and pressed, his hair slicked back with a sheen that catches the fluorescent light, and his eyes, cold as a winter stream over smooth stones, fix on Sam with a look that screams you don't belong here. Mr. Tucker, he begins, his voice smooth as oil sliding over steel, we've reviewed your application. Maplewood isn't equipped for special cases like your niece. The words land like a mortar shell, and Sam's stomach drops, a hollow pit opening where hope had flickered, but he keeps his gaze level, his hands gripping the wheelchair like it's the only thing tethering him to the ground. She's smart as a whip, sir, he says, his voice steady despite the storm brewing inside, a tempest of anger and desperation he's fought to keep leashed since the war. Just needs a chance, books, a desk, a teacher who'll see her, not the chair. Hargrove leans back in his leather chair, its creak a taunt, and steeples his fingers, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. A predator sizing up prey too weak to fight back. Our resources are limited, Mr. Tucker. We can't accommodate her condition. The board agrees, unanimous vote. The word unanimous hits like a gut punch, and Sam's vision blurs. Not with tears, but with a rage he hasn't felt since '68. When a sergeant left his squad to die in a rice paddy, their blood soaking into the earth as he screamed orders into a radio that crackled with static. Unanimous? He growls, his voice low and dangerous, a rumble that vibrates in his chest like the distant thunder of artillery. You didn't even meet her, Didn't give her 5 minutes to show you what she's got. Ellie's hand finds his, her fingers cold and trembling against his rough skin, and he looks down to see her eyes wide, glistening with unshed tears, her lip quivering as she fights to be brave. "It's okay, Uncle Sam," she whispers, her voice a thread about to snap. But it's not. Nothing about this is okay, and the lie in her words twists the knife deeper. Hargrove stands, towering over them, his shadow swallowing the room like a storm cloud blotting out the sun. "Take it up with the board if you want, but my hands are tied. Good day." The dismissal is final, a gavel slamming down, and Sam's fists clench, nails digging into his palms until the sting draws blood, grounding him as he wheels Ellie out, the door slamming behind them with a bang that echoes like a gunshot through his skull, a sound that reverberates in his ears long after they're gone. Outside, the air's thicker, the heat pressing down like a weight on Sam's shoulders as he kneels by Ellie, brushing a tear from her cheek with a thumb that's rough but gentle, his touch a silent apology for a world that's let her down. "We ain't done yet, kid," he says, though his voice cracks, doubt gnawing at his resolve like termites in the trailer's rotting beams. He's got no money for private tutors, no pull with the county, just a trailer full of ghosts and a promise he's failing to keep, a vow to Mary whispered over her grave 2 summers ago. "I'll take care of her, sis. I swear it." The walk home is a blur of dust and despair, the wheelchair's wheels catching on every root, every stone. A cruel mimicry of the obstacles piling up. Hospital bills he can't pay, a fridge that's more rust than food, a future slipping away faster than he can chase it. The pines loom overhead, their needles whispering in the breeze, a sound that takes him back to Vietnam. Jungle patrols, the rustle of leaves hiding snipers, the weight of a rifle in his hands. Back then, he could fight, could shoot, could survive. Now, he's got nothing but a battered wheelchair and a heart breaking under the strain. Back at the trailer, the door creaks as he pushes it open, the hinges groaning like his own joints, and he wheels Ellie inside, the air stale with the scent of mildew and yesterday's coffee. The walls are patched with cardboard, the floors sagging under threadbare rugs, and the single bulb overhead flickers, casting shadows that dance like specters of his failures. He tucks Ellie into bed, a mattress on a rusted frame, her quilt pulled tight against the chill seeping through cracked walls, and sits by her side, the chair creaking under his weight. Her coughs are sharper now, a hacking sound that cuts through the quiet, each one a dagger in his chest as he presses a cool cloth to her forehead, her skin clammy beneath his touch. He stares at the letter, crumpled, useless, its ink smudged from his sweaty grip, and feels the weight of 50 years crash down like a monsoon rain, heavy and unrelenting. Vietnam took his youth, Mary's death took his peace, and now this rejection threatens to take Ellie's dreams, the last piece of light he's clinging to. He buries his face in his hands, the calluses rough against his skin, and whispers into the dark, "I'm sorry, Mary. I'm trying so damn hard." Sleep eludes him that night, the wind howling through the pines like a chorus of ghosts, their voices blending with the creak of the trailer and Ellie's ragged breaths. He paces the small space, his boots scuffing the linoleum, each step a restless echo of the marches he once led through jungles thick with danger. The memories come unbidden. 69, a patrol gone wrong, the air thick with humidity and the stench of cordite, his squad pinned down by Viet Cong fire. He'd carried a boy, Bobby, barely 19, out of the kill zone, the kid's blood soaking his uniform, his pleas for his mama fading as Sam stumbled through the mud. Bobby didn't make it, but Sam did, and the guilt's been a shadow ever since, a weight he carries alongside the shrapnel in his back. Now, watching Ellie sleep, her chest rising and falling under the quilt, he feels that same helplessness, that same desperate need to save someone he loves. But this time, there's no enemy to shoot, no battlefield to conquer, just a system that's turned its back, a principal's smirk, a board's cold decree. Morning breaks with a knock at the door, sharp and insistent, jolting Sam from a restless doze in his armchair, the Vietnam memoir on his lap slipping to the floor with a thud. He shuffles over, joints protesting with every step, the ache in his knees a dull roar as he opens the door to find a woman, tall, black, her hair woven into tight braids that gleam in the weak sunlight. her eyes warm but fierce, like a fire banked but ready to blaze. She's got a stack of books under one arm, their spines worn but sturdy, and a satchel slung over her shoulder, its leather scuffed from use. "Mr. Tucker? I'm Lena Brooks. I teach 5th grade at Maplewood. Heard about Ellie," she says, her voice steady, cutting through the fog of his exhaustion. Sam blinks, suspicion warring with a fragile hope that flickers in his chest, a candle flame in a storm. "Heard what, exactly?" he asks, his voice rough from lack of sleep, his hand lingering on the doorframe, ready to shut it if this is some trick. Lena's smile is small but steady, a lifeline thrown across choppy waters. "That she's been shut out. I don't agree with Hargrove, never have. I'd like to help, if you'll let me." Sam's throat tightens, words failing him as the weight of her offer sinks in, a crack in the dam holding back his despair. He steps aside, letting her in, the trailer's mess, dishes piled in the sink, a rug frayed to threads, laid bare, but Lena doesn't flinch, her presence a quiet strength that fills the room. She kneels by Ellie, who's awake now, propped on pillows, her eyes bright despite the shadows beneath them, a spark of curiosity lighting her pale face. "Hey, Ellie," Lena says, her voice a melody of patience and steel, warm as the sun breaking through clouds. "Want to learn something today?" Ellie nods, a spark igniting in her gaze, and Sam feels that crack widen, hope seeping through like water through parched earth. He watches from the kitchen, leaning on the counter, his coffee gone cold as Lena pulls out bottle caps, red, blue, silver, and lines them up on the bed, teaching Ellie math with a game of counting and subtraction, her laughter soft but real, a sound Sam hasn't heard in months. She reads from a dog-eared Charlotte's Web, its pages yellowed from Mary's childhood, her voice weaving the story of Wilbur and Charlotte into the trailer's dim air, Ellie's eyes wide as she follows along, her finger tracing the words. The room fills with the scratch of pencil on paper, the clink of Lena's thermos as she pours tea, Earl Grey, its citrus tang cutting through the musty stillness. And Sam marvels at this woman who's walked into their lives like a quiet storm, stirring up something he'd thought lost, possibility. Lena starts coming every afternoon, her old sedan rattling up the dirt road, its engine coughing like it's as tired as Sam feels. Her book's a lifeline Ellie clutches with bony fingers that grow steadier with each lesson. Sam fixes her car when it sputters, his hands black with grease as he tightens bolts under the hood, the smell of oil a familiar comfort from his days patching Jeeps in Nam. He mends her coat when it tears, threading a needle with shaky fingers, the stitches uneven but strong, small repayments for a debt he can't measure, a gratitude he can't voice without his throat closing up. He tries once, standing in the kitchen as she packs up, her satchel slung over her shoulder, the day's lesson done. "Why are you doing this?" he asks, his voice gruff and halting, the words scraping out like gravel. Lena looks up from a worksheet, her gaze steady, piercing through the armor he's worn since the war. "Because I've been Ellie, shut out, counted out, told I didn't belong. Someone gave me a chance once, a teacher who saw past my hand-me-downs. Now it's her turn." Her words hang in the air, heavy with a truth Sam feels in his bones, a shared scar of being overlooked, underestimated, and he nods, turning away before she sees the moisture in his eyes. Weeks turn to months, the Georgia heat fading into a crisp fall, the leaves turning gold and crimson outside the trailer's cracked windows, then a biting winter that rattles the tin roof with icy gusts. Ellie's stronger, not cured, her leukemia still a shadow lurking in her blood, but alive, her mind blooming under Lena's care like a flower pushing through frost. She reads chapter books now, her voice halting but proud as she sounds out words, solves fractions with a pencil stub Sam sharpens with his pocket knife, even sketches birds from the window, crude but beautiful, their wings a mirror of her trapped spirit, drawn with a hand that shakes less each day. Sam watches her progress, a quiet pride swelling in his chest, but the trailer's still a cage, its walls closing in with every unpaid bill, every cough that lingers too long. The hospital calls weekly, their voices clipped and demanding, payment plans he can't meet, treatments Ellie needs that his pension can't stretch to cover. He sells his old medals, Bronze Star, Purple Heart, earned in battles he barely survived, to pay for her meds, the clink of coins in his palm a bitter sound, each one a piece of his past traded for her present, a sacrifice that leaves him hollow. Nights, he lies awake on the sagging couch, the wind howling through the pines, its mournful song blending with the creak of the trailer and Ellie's soft snores, wondering how long this fragile hope can hold, how long he can keep her alive on grit and borrowed time. Winter deepens, the cold seeping through the trailer's thin walls, frost tracing patterns on the windows like ghostly fingerprints. Sam wraps Ellie in extra blankets, his own coat draped over her bed, his breath fogging in the dim light as he stokes the wood stove with scraps he's scavenged from the woods, the crackle of pine a faint warmth against the chill. One December morning, Lena arrives late, her sedan skidding on the icy dirt road, her face tight with something Sam can't read, grief, fear, determination all tangled together. Her eyes are red-rimmed, her braids dusted with snow, and she sets her satchel down with a heaviness that makes Sam's heart stutter, dread pooling in his gut like ice water. "Sam, we need to talk," she says, her voice trembling as she pulls a letter from her bag, its edges crisp and official, the kind of paper that carries weight, good or bad, he can't tell yet. Ellie's napping, her breath's a soft rhythm under the quilt, her face peaceful despite the shadows beneath her eyes, and Sam braces himself, his hand gripping the counter, the wood splintering under his fingers. "What's wrong?" he rasps, his voice raw with sleepless nights and unspoken fears. Lena takes a breath, steadying herself, her eyes locking onto his with a fierceness that pins him in place. "I dug into Ellie's records, her mom's files, stuff I got from a friend at the courthouse. Sam, her father, he's not dead like Mary said. He's alive, and he's rich, billionaire rich." Sam's world tilts, the room spinning as he staggers, the counter the only thing keeping him upright, his knuckles whitening as the revelation hits like a grenade blast, shattering the fragile calm he'd clung to. "Who?" he rasps, the word scraping out, his throat dry as dust. "Jameson Holt," Lena says, her voice steady now, though her hands tremble as she holds the letter, its ink black and stark against the white. "Owns half the tech firms in Atlanta. Mary listed him on Ellie's birth certificate. Never told him, kept it buried. I found him, Sam. I wrote him. He's coming tomorrow." Sam's mind reels, memories of Mary flashing like a broken reel, her evasions when he'd asked about Ellie's dad, her late-night tears he'd chalked up to grief, the way she'd dodge with a smile and a change of subject. Holt, a name from a world Sam can't fathom, a man with more money than Sam's seen in a lifetime. A ghost from Mary's past now stepping into their present. "Why now?" he asks, anger simmering beneath the shock, a fire licking at the edges of his control, his voice rising despite the quiet of the trailer. Lena's eyes soften, but her tone stays firm, unyielding. "Ellie deserves more than this. Better care, a real school, a chance to live, not just survive. I've seen her fight, Sam, but she's slipping away here. We both know it. The hospital won't wait forever." Sam's fists clench, the letter crumpling in his hand, the paper tearing under his grip as her words sink in, a truth he's dodged in the dark of too many nights. Ellie's cough's growing harsher, her strength fading, the meds barely holding the line. "And if he takes her?" he snaps, his voice breaking, the fear he's buried spilling out like blood from a fresh wound. "What then? She's all I've got, Lena." She touches his arm, her fingers warm against his cold skin, a steadying anchor in the storm raging inside him. "That's up to you, Sam. But she's not just yours to save anymore. Holt's her father. He deserves a chance too." The night stretches long and restless, Sam pacing the trailer's cramped space, the floor creaking under his boots as the wind howls outside, rattling the windows like a beast clawing to get in. He checks on Ellie, her face pale in the moonlight filtering through the frost, her breaths uneven, a reminder of the clock ticking down. He thinks of Holt, some faceless tycoon in a suit, a man who never knew his daughter, who might swoop in and take her away, leaving Sam with nothing but echoes and an empty chair. The thought twists his gut, a fear sharper than any battlefield dread, and he sinks into the couch, head in his hands, the crumpled letter beside him. He's fought wars, buried family, scraped by on nothing, but letting go? That's a battle he's not sure he can win. A surrender that feels like betrayal to Mary's memory, to the promise he's kept through every hardship. The next day dawns gray, a drizzle pattering the trailer's roof, the sound a soft drumbeat against the tension coiling in Sam's chest. He dresses Ellie in her best, a faded dress Mary sewed, its hem frayed but clean, her wheelchair empty by the couch as she sits propped on pillows, sketching a bird with shaky hands, oblivious to the storm brewing. A black SUV rolls up, sleek and silent, its tires crunching gravel like bones snapping underfoot, a sound that sets Sam's teeth on edge. A man steps out, tall, mid-40s, hair flecked with silver, his suit pristine and worth more than Sam's trailer, his shoes polished despite the mud. Jameson Holt's eyes, hazel like Ellie's, widen as he sees her through the window, a flicker of recognition, of regret, flashing across his face like lightning in the gloom. Sam meets him at the door, chest tight, his voice a growl that rumbles from deep within. "You her father?" Holt nods, his gaze dropping to his shoes, a man humbled by a truth he's only just grasped. "I didn't know, Mr. Tucker. Mary, she never told me. I'd have been here, I swear it." Sam's anger flares, a fire stoked by years of struggle, of carrying Ellie alone. But before he can snap, Ellie's voice cuts through, soft and curious, a thread of light in the dark. "Uncle Sam, who's that?" Holt steps inside, his polished shoes sinking into the muddy rug, and kneels by her, his suit jacket brushing the floor as he smiles. A smile that breaks Sam's heart, tender and raw. "I'm your dad, Ellie," he says, his voice thick with guilt, with a longing Sam can feel across the room. "I'm so sorry I wasn't here. I didn't know, but I'm here now." Ellie blinks, her pencil pausing mid-stroke, her eyes darting between them, a question forming in her gaze that Sam can't answer yet. The hours blur into a tangle of words and emotions. Holt explaining, his voice steady but cracking as he recounts a brief fling with Mary years back, a love cut short by her silence. Sam seething, his hands clenched as he listens, the trailer's walls closing in with every revelation. Ellie listening, her head tilted, her sketch forgotten as she takes in this stranger who shares her eyes. Holt's got a penthouse in Atlanta, doctors on speed dial, a trust fund ready to pour into Ellie's care, a life Sam can't give her, a world of glass towers and clean sheets he's only seen on TV. "I want to take care of her," Holt says, his voice thick with a guilt Sam recognizes, a mirror to his own failures. "But I won't take her from you. Not if you say no. She's your family too." Sam's torn, his pride warring with love, the trailer's dim light casting shadows over Ellie's frail body, her bright mind, her future dangling like a thread he's afraid to let slip. He steps outside, the rain soaking his shirt, cold against his flushed skin, and stares at the pines, their needles trembling in the wind, their whispers a chorus of Mary's voice. "Save her, Sam. Whatever it takes." He's fought for her with every breath, every dime, but now the fight's bigger than him, and letting go might be the bravest battle yet. The rain slows to a drizzle, the trailer quiet as Sam sits by Ellie's side, her hand in his, Holt's offer hanging heavy between them. He thinks of Mary, her fierce love, her whispered dreams for Ellie, dreams he's carried like a torch through the dark. A poor veteran, he's given all he had, pushing that wheelchair through rejection and despair, only to find hope in a teacher's kindness and a father's belated return. Ellie's life's changed, not by Sam's strength alone, but by the hands that reached out when his faltered. He signs the papers, letting Holt take her to Atlanta, but not before securing visits, a promise of family unbroken. The trailer's emptier now, but Sam's heart is fuller, his fight a legacy of love that outlasts the battles he's known. This isn't just Sam's story. It's a testament to resilience, to the quiet courage that blooms in the shadows of struggle. A veteran's grit, a teacher's grace, a father's redemption. These are the threads that mend a broken world, proving that hope can rise from the ashes of rejection. Think of a time someone stood by you when the odds were stacked high. How did it shape you? Share your story in the comments. We're weaving a tapestry of strength at Daily Narrated Stories, and your voice is a vital strand. 6 months later, Ellie's thriving. Chemo's working, her wheelchair traded for crutches, her laughter echoing through Holt's mansion where Sam visits monthly. Lena's there too, hired as Ellie's tutor, her smile a bridge between past and present. Sam's trailer's fixed, Holt's money a quiet thank you. But it's the letters from Ellie, scribbled with love, mailed from a life he helped save, that warm his nights. He's found peace, a purpose beyond the war, a reminder that even the poorest among us can lift others up. At Daily Narrated Stories, we cherish these tales, stories of heart and hustle that light the way forward. Don't miss out. Subscribe now. Time's slipping, and our next story's waiting, a spark of inspiration you won't want to lose. Hit that bell, join us before it's gone, and let's keep these life-changing narratives alive. Your click could push us to 1,000 subscribers. Do it for Sam, for Ellie, for the unsung heroes waiting to shine.